Some things just have to tell the story.
Schools across much of the UK look set to close their doors and shut down by the end of the week. The governments in Scotland and Wales have been first to announce their plans as part of the measures to tackle the coronavirus crisis.
The city that never sleeps is shutting down over the coronavirus.
Just tweeted within the past 2 minutes that the NBA is suspending the season.
Yeshiva University, now out of an abundance of caution, class was canceled today here at the school located in Washington Heights.
The World Health Organization has officially declared the outbreak of the novel coronavirus, known as COVID-19, a pandemic.
When it became apparent what was going on, to me, it was very obvious that if students were to go home for Pesach, they would not be able to come back.
In a matter of weeks, the novel coronavirus has changed life as we know it. How long are we going to have to live like this?
I just said it's terrible. If guys finish their Zman in Adar, that would be chaval. It would just be a terrible thing. I had traveled back from America at the end of February or beginning of March, so I was already somewhat sensitive to the COVID-19 issues. On the plane, people had already started wiping down their seats. I had bought Purell wipes for mine, and people were wearing gloves and masks a little bit. I remember after dancing in yeshiva on Parsha Zohar by night, immediately going to the sink and washing my hands with soap and water. So Purim came, and thank God it was a beautiful Purim.
I originally came for about 17 days. My plan was to come just for Purim.
Purim was amazing. It was chaotic and orderly as usual.
Etz Chaim knows how to rock a Purim.
I realized that if we waited to Rosh Chodesh Nisan, it might be against the law to get a group of people together, to get the guy who has to come out and help us finish the matzahs to put together the entire thing. And I realized we have to do it as quick as we can. Purim was on a Wednesday. So we baked the Monday after Purim, and it was fantastic. Everybody got into it.
There are no words to describe matzah baking. From start to finish, energy everywhere.
Matzah baking is one of the highlights of my year. It's really cool to make your own matzahs, and then you get to, live off of them for a week.
It felt a lot shorter than it actually was. We were actually there for a pretty long time.
Each person has their job. I did Talmidim, which was very physically taxing.
Matzah baking was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of cool details about baking matzah. I didn't realize how intricate and detailed it was, and that was a really good experience.
Exhausted at the end, but you know that you're making matzah. You made your matzah when it comes to the Seder.
You never realize how hard it is and how much you appreciate matzah until you bake it.
One of the students in yeshiva, the morning after Purim, tells me my father made a reservation for me to go back to the States this Sunday. It was the first time I think it even occurred to me people might end up leaving early. And I realized that this might start happening. What should the guys do?
Definitely the most difficult decision to make. Taking the responsibility not only of your own health, but you're taking the responsibility of the health of all of the guys in yeshiva.
So immediately that Thursday at Mincha, I gathered the yeshiva together. I told everybody that if you go in for Pesach, odds are you'll not be able to come back to Eretz Yisrael, which means that your year in Eretz Yisrael will have landed in Adar.
You have to decide, what are you going back to? If you're going back to something which is safer and also gives you the ability to continue growing, going back is a perfectly valid decision to make, maybe even the better decision to make. But if going back means you will have nothing that you are striving to, nothing that you are busy doing, nothing that you are adding to, no achievement, no goal, then it is not necessarily the best decision to make.
I decided to stay because I felt like being in an environment with my friends where I can learn with them and be around most of my rebbeim would be better for me than being at home locked in my house.
I want to be in a learning environment is what it comes to. Back home, all the shuls, all the base measures are closed, I wouldn't be able to learn.
And that same advice is the advice I gave myself. Is it safer for me not to come to yeshiva? Is it safer for me to have yeshiva shut down? And once the answer to that was actually no, it's not, and that was just based on the circumstances of how yeshiva had been anyhow until that point, then came the second factor. So, what is better in terms of living life? Will I learn better? Will I grow more? Will I achieve more? And the answer was a clear yes, coming to yeshiva is so. And so I followed my own advice.
I was here in Israel during the Gulf War when a lot of Talmidim went home. I was here during the Intifada when a lot of Talmidim went home. And you meet people till this day, who are older already, who say, oh, I never had my time in yeshiva, I never had my time in Eretz Yisrael, I never got that piece of growth because of the Gulf War or because of the Intifada.
I stayed because it made sense.
How did it make sense?
Learning would be the same. I don't leave the building all that much, so why not stay?
The way I see it, the time that I have in yeshiva is the best option that I'm ever going to have. So why would I want to lose out on any of that time?
I felt that we could do the things that were necessary to keep everybody safe. I was in touch with the governmental agencies, particularly through Masa, which allowed us to stay open under the format which we did, which is essentially quarantine the entire yeshiva. No one could ever leave campus. We always say Derech Etz Chaim is a family. They became a family. One of the cute things we did right at the beginning is we set up like a sanitizing station right as you walk through the front door. That there are bleach wipes to be able to wipe down the front door handle and the electronic keypad. There are alcohol gel to clean your hands off as soon as you come in. There are gloves if somebody has to go outside, for example, for a food delivery to pick it up. You're able to put on a glove. So all that stuff was set up with a big sign, wash your hands. Everybody walks through, we'd have to wash their hands. As long as the government was saying what we're doing is okay, and every step of the way we checked it. We would limit the exposure that Rebbeim coming in would have. It would basically only be Homer and Yeshiva. And in doing this, we felt it would be better. They'd be better off here than they would be in the States. They'd be able to continue learning. They'd be able to stay for the Zman after Pesach. And thank God, in retrospect, all of that worked out.
Overall, I know that there's quite a few people in this building that I will keep in contact for the rest of my life due to this quarantine.
After speaking to the yeshiva and encouraging the students to stay for Pesach and explaining to them that if they went home they wouldn't be able to stay, I sent an email to the parents where I explained the same thing. I explained to them that I felt it was in their son's interest that they stay.
I've talked to quite a few friends who are all pretty jealous that I was in a position to stay in Israel, and they all wish that they had the opportunity to be a part of yeshiva right now. They're all at home, not being as productive.
I committed the yeshiva to put our resources, our energy, and our planning, and I showed them what the plan was in order for their kids to stay. And almost every single parent was completely on board.
For themselves, they were a little bit disappointed just because that would be more time until they see me. But aside from that, they were very happy for me that I would get the experience to stay here.
They were scared for me, but they understood why I decided to stay.
They did not want their kids' year in Israel to end this early and then have nothing to do in America.
My life is no different than it was 3 months ago. As for everyone else I know, their lives are crazy.
They stayed, the parents backed it, they were 100% supportive.
They wanted me to stay. They thought it was the best thing for me.
Baruch Hashem. It says we have a great group of parents and we have a great group of Talmidim. The energy in the building was good. The energy in yeshiva was great. The guys are speaking to friends back in the States who were alone in the basement of their house, not seeing anybody. And here they had a chevra. People weren't just learning together, weren't just davening together. The guys really were good. They were here to learn, and it was great. The Zman finished very, very strong. And the guys committed to stay through Pesach.
Learning between Purim and Bein Hazmanim continued like it would normally.
Every year in yeshiva, after Purim, the learning is next level.
Purim can help people see what they really want out of yeshiva. Usually there's a big push. The base was full every morning from Shan Aleph all the way up to the older guys.
And now it was 2 weeks. We're coming up on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Rav Asher had really said,
we're going to have to do something for the end of Zman.
So quarantine has been a little difficult. There's a lot of, 20 guys in the same building, cabin fever.
The Sunday, the week before Pesach, we would find a place.
The best place, not just a place.
Where they could quarantine as a group, which would be a nicer environment.
And I think we did very well, choosing a great place overlooking the ocean.
Meanwhile, the government upped the restrictions and said they were going to put a closure on the cities on the Thursday before that Sunday. So we said, okay, we're going to move the trip up. We contacted the owner. He said it was fine.
Lockdown was taking place within 48 hours.
Then the government moved this earlier. They said we're going to put it at 8 o'clock at night on Wednesday night, which was essentially Rosh Chodesh Nisan.
So changing our whole plan.
And we got to move the trip up, and we started packing things and getting all the food together. And then they moved it up to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So by that morning, we got everybody out at 1 o'clock.
Think about preparing Shabbos within 2 hours. That's hard. Now preparing 10 days within 2 hours is a lot harder. And I think we did great.
And it wasn't easy. We had to find transportation that worked within the system. I contacted Masa. I said, how can I move the guys from the building in Yerushalayim to a place in Netanya? And he explained to me what we had to do. And we found great guys, Gagadi, who was able to get vans and take the guys. And they went to Netanya. Rav Asher joined them with his family. And Zach Lennick went along with them too. And during that week, they had some learning in the morning. And they had a shir from Rav Shaftel on Zoom on this massive LCD TV, so it's like he's standing in the room. He gave them shir every day. And the rest of the time, not only did they get to relax and enjoy each other, you were still in yeshiva, but you were there in a way which was relaxed and good.
I wasn't expecting the yeshiva to do something like that, so I viewed it as a real gift and a real privilege. There was a pool, there's just tons of open space, there was even an indoor elevator. It really was vacation-esque.
Netanya was really good. There was a lot of hanging out, going swimming, a lot of just chill with all the guys there.
I thought it was a great bonding experience.
I thought it was really cool getting to just having a small self-made minyan.
We were exactly 10 people and we needed everyone to have the minyan.
It was an incredible trip to give us some space and give us a breather.
It allowed everybody to be able, I think, to survive the entire experience all the way through Pesach and all the way through today, knowing that they got that week and a half of just being able to relax and be themselves in a good environment.
Having 10 guys in a house overlooking the beach, a lot of learning and a lot of having fun. When all of Israel is under lockdown, I think our lockdown was the best one.
The guys returned from Netanya on Thursday night. And then Motzei Shabbos, every last person in yeshiva gathered together in the dining room in the kitchen, and we kashered the kitchen for Pesach as a group.
Everyone had their little areas. For myself, it was basically cleaning and being involved in the fact that we kashered a industrial kitchen overnight. Literally.
Sorting out silverware so we could kasher silverware, wiping down the tables and cleaning out the sinks. We had to grease cut all of the stainless steel counters and the sinks, and we had to turn things upside down, and we had to remove all the chametz from the kitchen, and we had to clean it out, and then we had to kasher a number of utensils to be able to cook. We had to blowtorch the stovetop. We were not able to kasher the oven.
I cleaned the pot that we dropped the rock into, cleaned that well.
I was partnered up with Benji.
Highlight of the year so far.
What'd you do?
I cleaned a table.
Which I thought was pretty fun.
Every guy. We started at 8:30 on Motzei Shabbos, and about 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, we finished completely.
When it came to kashering the kitchen, everybody got involved. Everybody got together. There was work for everybody.
I was here, Shaftel was here. For me, it was one of the highlights of the year. It was an amazing vibe. The guys were so into it.
Got it all done one night, and it was just incredible to be part of.
It was a big deal, the kasher kitchen. Just an amazing experience. Guys who stay for Pesach, and they go to people for Seder.
Last year, I did Seder by Rav Mendel and Rav Shaftel.
I was at Rabbi Katz's house.
I had my Seder by Rav Moshe.
Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News. Following a short limited respite, Israelis enter another 3-day general lockdown.
As of tomorrow, 4 p.m., you will remain in your cities.
As Pesach got closer, I realized, well, the guys going out of the neighborhood wasn't going to happen. And our original plan, when we boiled down to it, was that half the yeshiva would go to Rav Shaftel, half the yeshiva would come to me.
Prior to the Seder night, each and every person will remain at home as of 6 p.m. until the following day, 7 a.m.
As it got closer to Pesach, we realized we were going to have to do the Pesach Seder in yeshiva. I would come with my family, and we would do it in yeshiva with the guys. I've had 30 people at a Seder before, so this was not the largest Seder ever run, but still doing it in yeshiva was a new challenge. We wanted it to be nice, we wanted it to be fancy, we wanted it to be yontif. So here we were able to make an absolutely gorgeous Seder. People see pictures of this Seder. It looks like a Pesach hotel.
This Pesach Seder was one of a kind. I think everybody would agree to that.
Katz did a fantastic job with the way the setup was and the way everyone interacted with each other, where he gave the whole Seder and everyone pitched in. It went to 3:30 in the morning. I don't think anyone really minded.
Just between having everyone there, the fact that the Rebbeim made the effort to come actually made it feel like a real Seder with the family being there.
And once again, everybody really pulled together. The guys put in the effort. I had my daughter-in-law came into yeshiva, set the dining room up. My wife and Mrs. Weinberg cooked food for the guys. The food was absolutely exquisite. And then we had the Seder, and the Seder was tremendous.
The Seder in yeshiva was the best Seder I've had in my entire life.
As much as it was a family environment, it was also a yeshiva environment.
The overall experience about learning about Pesach and what the Seder is about was a great experience.
The interaction and the ruach and the discussions, and ultimately, obviously, Hallel and Nirtza were amazing. We ended at 3:30 in the morning.
Hallel became one of my favorite parts of the Seder, because after going through such a nice, amazing Maggid and having such a clear understanding of what's going on, then afterwards eating a meal and saying Hallel just feels very natural.
The both of them were, I think, unique to each other. I really enjoyed them a lot.
The second Seder, where Shetel came in, it was a really fun experience. This year being one of the guys who helped run the Seder and being one of the guys who just participated in it. Especially the singing at the end of the night. It's really hard at 3 a.m. to keep everyone excited, but you have to for the younger guys.
You know, we're used to having Pesach with either my family or my wife's family. It's the first time we had our own Pesach Seder. And you know that it's not either my or my wife's family, it's our family, namely the yeshiva.
The guys had to step up a lot.
I think a lot of the time in this yeshiva, guys really taking responsibility for a lot of the things that get done around yeshiva. I think that has always been a big part of being in DC, and I think now it was just, the ultimate test, and we were really pushed to the limit, and we did incredibly.
Guys pitched in. They cooked for second day until second Seder, Shabbos Chol Hamoed, 8th day until Shabbos HaGadol they had to make because the cook was not able to come in because of the regulations, and then the Shabbos immediately after Pesach.
The cooking was amazing. It was like I was at Pesach Hotel.
The way that yeshiva always been able to function over the years, every year the guys step up, but with Corona especially, guys did more than I ever imagined would be done for yeshiva, in yeshiva.
Almost everybody on some level was involved. 4 or 5 guys took a tremendous amount of achrayus for it.
I like cooking, so it was always a burden, but people were very helpful. I turned down a lot of help just because there were tons of people offering help.
It couldn't have happened any other way. If it would be that they were totally reliant only on outside people, this would have been much more difficult. Every person who I told that we stayed open, first off, they were unbelievably impressed with the guys, as they should be, as I have been.
It's a condensed full year in 2 months. When you have guys, after 2 months, looking like different people, you actually can see the growth. It's an amazing experience.
But they said it's tremendous physics.
I thought it would go well, but I never really figured it would go this well.
Anybody I spoke to, the guy at the Makolet, Yoni, he said to me, the guys are amazing. Anything you need, even if I don't supply it in the Makolet, I will go out and buy it for you because it's amazing that the guys have stayed.
Torah became much more of a focus in people's lives. It became far more prevalent in their daily schedule.
Some people who know Derech Etz Chaim, one or two people said, of course Derech Etz Chaim stayed open. What else would you expect? Because that's the type of place it is. The type of place where we go the extra mile.
They honestly care about the guys so much. I've never seen so much care and passion that goes towards the guys.
As my mother said, people have bad things to say about yeshiva, but after us staying open when a lot of other yeshivas closed, she doesn't want to hear it anymore. Yeah, we're always told we're different, and we pride ourselves on that, and then once again we're different, and we were one of the few yeshivas learning.
We have a setup which was unique to be able to keep the yeshiva open. We're a smaller yeshiva. with a group of guys that had a group of parents that were ready to keep their guys here. The Rebbeim who lived right in the neighborhood were able to essentially semi-live in the yeshiva with the guys, and that's a very special opportunity. At the end of the entire thing, it could be, had I known how difficult it was going to be originally when I had this idea that everybody should stay, it could be I wouldn't have done it. It's a good thing that I didn't know how hard it was going to be.
If someone would have told me this hypothetical situation, would I have thought that DC would stay open? There is a very solid chance that I think that the yeshiva would have stayed open due to people being crazily insane. Yeah, actually not that surprised.
For all of those guys who did stay, not only do they feel a bond with each other greater than they would have otherwise, I think they all feel like here was a real opportunity to be a something and to do a something, which is not such a common thing. People don't always have such obvious opportunity.
In terms of yeshiva, I'm really happy with the result. I did not expect that this whole endeavor would be anywhere near as meaningful to my growth as it turned out to be.
This just shows what the emphasis is on Torah and on learning, that we were willing to go through all this and put in all the work that we put in to preserve it.
Not only will this be something that will remain with them forever as an experience in which they could say proudly, I did the best that I could, but I think that it will be an experience that they will always relate to as having been a plateau moment, a pivotal moment in their life, where major shifts in how they viewed Iker and Tafel were formed.
It has worked out to be unbelievable. We were able to start the Zman essentially the day after Pesach. There's nobody coming back from America, so there's no reason to wait for Rosh Chodesh. There's no wait. We started right away. The davening has been tremendous. The learning has been tremendous. Because we're using a more limited staff, we changed night seders that the younger guys learn with the older guys, and that has become an incredible night seder, an incredibly strong seder. The overall environment, we started Zoom shiurim with the alumni, which have added shiurim for the Talmidim here because they get to sit in on them. Looking back now, those who have stayed have seen very clearly it was the right choice. The yeshiva, with all the hard work we did, also sees very clearly that we made the right choice.